what you need, what type of regimen you're on. So typically I would be in the weight room twice a week, and I would be doing a lot of functional strength training, more for strengthening my core and keeping my foundation very strong. We would do a lot of speed training, agility training, explosiveness, power, and conditioning. But at the same time, you don't want to overdo it too in the weight room, because you got to save your energy for the more important days like sparring and pads and all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, you know, we're not lifting weights when we step in the octagon. We gotta punch and kick and defend the takedowns and all that fun stuff. And sometimes I think fighters get too caught up in the weight room, which can hinder you a little bit if you're not careful, because it is very taxing on the body. So you got to train smart. You got to be in tune with your body, your mind, and you got to kind of go with how you feel, you know. So, but I've done a lot of weight training, definitely a lot of strength and conditioning.
Sounds like good advice for our future champions who are listening tonight. Alex, I'm going to put you on the spot here with some deeper questions. What has been your most memorable victory to date?
My memorable victory? I've had many, but my most memorable was probably back in 2006 when I competed in the Contender Asia, and it was an 8-man tournament with 8 of the best Muay Thai fighters in Canada, and we were competing to go onto the Contender Asia show, which was being hosted in Malaysia. So I competed, I had to fight 3 times, so single elimination. If you lose, you're out. So my first fight, knocked out my first opponent. Second fight of the night, I won by decision. And then the third fight of the night, I won by knockout. But there was a very big controversy that night, or the next day actually, because I got dropped in the second round, and I came back and I dropped my opponent. His name was Jesse Miles, Mike Miles' stepson. And I dropped him about 7 seconds left of the final round, and the crowd was going crazy. And they announced that he was out cold, okay? And they announced me the winner. They presented me the trophy that night. But the next day I got a phone call from the promoter saying that, well, because of technicality, the ref waved off the fight 2 seconds after the final bell rang, but nobody heard it because the crowd was going crazy. So they went back to the scorecards, and because I personally think I still won the fight, because I won the first round. He dropped me twice in the second round, and I finished them in the third round. But they gave him the decision due to technicality. So he was knocked out cold, but still won the fight. So I give it to him. But overall, for me, it's not about winning or losing. It's about learning and growing as a martial artist. And that was one of the greatest experiences of my life, being able to compete against 3 of the best strikers in Canada. It was a great time for me, and it was very memorable, and I'll never forget that.
So Alex, when you look back over your fight career and training to date, is there a particular lesson or moral that stands out?
You got to keep going, because in this journey as a martial artist, there's going to be a lot of crossroads, and you can't get discouraged. You can't get frustrated. You got to persevere and overcome all of these obstacles. Failing is part of the process, so you got to learn how to roll with the punches, take the punches, because that's what's part of being a fighter is all about. You got to be able to get hit and hit right back. You know, there's a lot of ups and downs in this game, so you just got to be ready. You got to be focused, and you got to really truly believe in yourself, in your skill, and surround yourself with the right people that are going to help pave that way for you to get to your goal. And that's very important for me in my journey. I'm so very fortunate that I had that great support. And, you know, I never gave up. And trust me, there was many times where I just said, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this no more. And you know, there's that little thing inside me that just said, you know what, just keep going. One more day. And you know, it's like it paid off in the long run. I just kept on going, kept on training, kept on learning through all of the mistakes that I made. And I'm here right now where I am.
Now, Alex, before we go on, is there a place on the web or social networking that you would like to direct our listeners tonight if they're curious about you?
Yes, you could check me out at Alex Ricci MMA. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, you could check me out on my website at m1thaiboxing.com. I own a gym in Woodbridge, Ontario, just north of Toronto, where I teach and train Thai boxing and mixed martial arts to all levels and all walks of life, everybody. So, you know, we have a great program there where I teach a lot of kids and adults of all levels and ages. And that's kind of my thing that I do on the side. That's the beauty about being a martial artist. We're able to do many things, right? We're not only just fighters, right? We're businessmen, we're entrepreneurs, and you know, being a martial artist allows somebody to branch off into many different areas. It's a really cool thing.
You know, Alex, we're coming up to the close of this interview. It goes by so quickly, so we hope you'll join us again. But I have a question here that I'd like to ask you, and I think you'd be the ideal guest to answer this.
Yeah, cool.
In all of my roles in life, in my corporate career, as a father, in this radio show, there are times where I have to deal with insecurities, fears, and doubts. And the confidence, which a lot of the time comes and it runs on autopilot, but there's times even before I get behind the mic and talk to great guests like yourself, where I have to take the controls in that confidence. I have to be manually confident and speak to myself and reassure myself. How do you experience insecurities, fears, and doubts when you're training or when you're preparing for a fight?
That's been a big issue since I was a young adult, since I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. I've had major insecurity battles with myself, and like I said, the martial arts has helped me to overcome these insecurities. We all have insecurities, but it's how we look at it and how we handle it. For me, I get my confidence and I overcome my insecurities from the dedication and hard work that I put into my craft. That's how I get my confidence, by putting in the hours and of training. And also I do a lot of other things like meditation, yoga. These are things that are necessary to keep ourselves calm and relaxed and positive. But we all have these feelings of insecurity. It's an absolute normal thing. But, you know, we need to stay strong. We need to believe in ourselves. And for me, I just kind of reflect on all the things that I've done in my life, all the hard work that I put into this craft, and that's what gives me that spark, and that's what helps me overcome my insecurities. And I also like to talk to the people around me. I share my feelings with the people that are close to me, with my mother, my father, my coaches, my teammates, right? And hey, being insecure, that's a normal thing. If you're not insecure, then I'll maybe be a little concerned that something might be wrong. But we all have insecurity issues, and like I said, for me, it's been through overcoming it has been through the martial arts has helped me overcome it, meditation, yoga, and more importantly, for me, surrounding myself with the positive people, and that's what's uplifting, and that's what's going to help me overcome those issues.
Hey, thanks for sharing, Alex. I wish you all the success which you truly deserve. And here at the show, we're very enthusiastic about your UFC career. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope to be back on very soon.
You have been listening to my interview with UFC and Bellator fighter Alex Ricci. Bruce County Combat and Fitness in Walkerton offers recreational and competitive kickboxing and boxing classes for children and adults, as well as yoga classes. Your first class is always free to try. Bruce County Combat and Fitness offers single monthly memberships for as low as $45 and $67 for a family. Their drop-in fees are only $7 for most classes and just $5 for yoga and Little Warriors. Check out their full schedule at brucecountycombat.com. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. They also sell a full range of fight gear and apparel.
Here's Mark and Don Leslie from Leslie Motors in Harrison, Walkerton, and Wingham.
Don, one of the benefits of selling new Ford vehicles is we get some great quality pre-owned vehicles in on trade. You're right, Mark. These trade-ins are often bought brand new from us and serviced at one of our 3 locations as well. We then perform a very thorough inspection during the safety process and then price them very competitively in the market. Quality pre-owned vehicles, priced right. Check out LeslieMotors.com for our entire pre-owned inventory.
Leslie Motors in Harrison, Walkerton, and Wingham. Tired of hot water wreaking havoc around your home? Dry skin and lifeless hair? Dull and dingy laundry? Soap scum and spotted glasses too?
Hey, Culligan man! A Culligan water softener turns hard water soft every time. Soft water is the answer. Not cleaning products or detergents. Culligan saves you up to 50% on soaps and detergents while turning your laundry, bathroom, and kitchen brilliant, like me. Hey, Culligan man!
Pittsburgh Penguins legendary goalie Les Binkley will be at Lasting Memories locker room in Hanover on Saturday, April 29th between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. Purchase your tickets before April 22nd to be entered into a draw for a chance to win a meet and greet with Les Binkley. Get your tickets now to meet the legend himself, Les Binkley, at Lasting Memories locker room in Hanover. Call 519-364-0909 for more information or visit lastingmemorieslockerroom.com.
Hi, can I take your order, please?
Yeah, I'd like a safer ride, better fuel efficiency, and I want to help the environment. Less greenhouse gas, fewer tires and landfill sites, you know.
Would you like cream cheese with that?
In less time than it takes to drive through the drive-thru, you can enjoy a safer ride, reduce environmental impact, and improve fuel efficiency of your car. Just measure your tire pressure once a month. Visit www.betiresmart.ca. Be Tire Smart and play your part.
Martial Arts World Radio is brought to you by Bruce County Combat and Fitness in Walkerton. Check out the full list of classes at brucecountycombat.com. Bruce County Combat and Fitness in Walkerton offers recreational and competitive kickboxing and boxing classes for children and adults, as well as yoga classes. Your first class is always free to try. Bruce County Combat and Fitness offers single monthly memberships for as low as $45 and $67 for a family. Their drop-in fees are only $7 for most classes and just $5 for yoga and Little Warriors. Check out their full schedule at brucecountycombat.com. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. They also sell a full range of fight gear and apparel.
Hi, this is Keith Vitale, and you're listening to Martial Arts World Radio with Joseph Clark.
Our interview with Olympic medalist Nia Nicole Abdallah is brought to you by Kyani independent distributor Daniel Girej. Kyani is a leading provider of all-natural health and wellness products that provide athletes with faster post-training recovery and energy. Endorsed by professional fighters and celebrity martial artists Josh Tyler, Manny Pacquiao, and Jackie Chan. Reach out to Daniel for more info at kyanihealthaustralia@gmail.com or Skype Daniel at that exact same address on Skype, Kyani, Kyani, healthaustralia@gmail.com. Nia Nicole Abdallah, born January 24th, 1984 in Houston, Texas, is the 2004 Olympic silver medalist and the first U.S. woman to officially medal in Taekwondo at the Olympics. In 2007, Nia received the highest honor in the martial art Olympic sport of Taekwondo when she was inducted into the official Taekwondo Hall of Fame. Nia, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. Now, Nia, I have so many questions for you. However, I must satisfy my own curiosity by asking, where is your silver medal right now?
Sitting right next to my bed. The funny thing about the silver medal is, what people don't realize, that's more for the other people. The experience is what us as Olympians really enjoy, and really the memory is what we went after. The medal is just something to show y'all what our memory was. So I tried to treat it better, but at first I used to stick it in my pocket and take it everywhere I went.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I have to tell you, if I was an Olympic medalist, I'd never take that thing off. Now, please walk us through, if you will, what age were you when you began taking Taekwondo instruction?
So I began taking Taekwondo at age 9, but I had been ambitious for an Olympic medal since I was 4 years old. When I was 4, my grandfather was a big Olympics person, and he kind of sat me down and walked through what the Olympics really meant and about how back in the days it was a time where all war stopped, all fighting stopped, and they just played sport. And I kind of fell in love with that idea at age 4, and I went and told my mom that I'm going to go win the Olympics. I told my mom I was serious at age 4. I could see myself on the podium at age 4. And so I kind of went into all kinds of sports from there. I've done just about every sport. And at age 9, I was a little kid. I was a little runt. And me and my stepdad plotted together to say, oh, let's put me in martial arts to, give me discipline and, all the quote-unquote things that martial arts is supposed to give you. And I was a little kid, so to, help me defend myself. And that's what we told my mom. And my mom called it an after-school program that never ended. And so from day one, it was like that was where I was supposed to be. I was a natural at it and became successful really, really early in the sport.
So please walk us through what the amateur competition circuit looks like in order to qualify for the Olympic team.
The funny part is it changes every year. Right now, the way it happens now, or this last Olympics, is totally different than the way that it happened for me. When it was me, we didn't have the point systems and stuff like that they had. You just had to go to the right tournaments and win the right fights. And a fun fact about me is before I made the Olympic team, I hadn't made a national team. I was at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and I was training there, but I was a B team member. I really wasn't going to any international competitions, and we had 18 trials for the Pan Am Games, and I won that. So I'm the only rookie on the team, and I ended up getting a bronze medal at that tournament, which put my weight division in the category. Again, I still hadn't made a regular national team, junior team, none of those. I hadn't made any of those teams, and went through the process of going to the tournaments to qualify. I had to win a tournament in the U.S. Then from that tournament, I had to go qualify in Mexico, and I qualified there. And then from there, I had number 1 seed to fight in the U.S. for the spot for the Olympics, and I made the Olympic team. So a lot of people don't know that I made the Olympic team before I made a national team.
And what was the most challenging aspect about competing in the Olympics for you? Was it psychological? Was it emotional, physical?
I think it was a more psychological thing, and I was real blessed that about, I want to say, 4 or 5 months before, they had the test event, and I was invited to go to the test event. And again, I'm telling you that I had little international experience, and at the test event, I really got to fight these girls, but I was intimidated at the test event, and I ended up losing like my second fight. And afterwards, in hindsight, I realized that these girls were just as good as me. Like, I could beat them. And it was in my head that was making me not. So I got those jitters out of my head. So when I went to the Olympics, I was like, I'm good enough to win the gold. It was just a lot of the stuff at the Olympics was lack of experience. But I went there to win. Like, probably me and my family probably the only people that thought I could get a silver. But I believed it. I've been believing it since I was 4.
So once you were selected for the Olympic team, how long do you train from that point until you actually compete in the Olympics?
We actually only had about 2 months in between, 2 or 3 months in between, because we had the team trials process. And so I just had a couple of months to kind of get ready, and that was more of a mental thing. Me and my training partner, Jamie Houston, we just trained together, and she just helped me prepare mentally what we were about to do and what I was about to go to, and really talking to my family and talking to the people around me, really understanding that I can do this, and having the right people around me was key. I didn't have a lot of people that told me I couldn't. I didn't have anybody that told me that I couldn't do it. Everybody told me that I can win this, and so I went in there with the mentality of I can win this. I can take the gold medal.
How much of your training, during that 2 months when you were then training with the Olympic team, how much of that training was psychological versus physical?
I still had to be physical fit, and I also had to cut weight at the time. I was fighting in the 57 kilos division, and so it was a physical battle, but it was a mental battle too. At the time, the Olympic Training Center was actually going through a transition where there was no longer going to be a program. So because I made the Olympic team, I was there. So it was me, my training partner, my coach, and 2 other people. So it wasn't a full team there. It was just us. We trained every day, and kind of the cool thing about it was the focus was me. Everybody was there to, kind of help me improve and stuff like that. But it was physical, mental, emotional. I had to train all of that at the same time.
Have you trained in other martial arts in addition to Taekwondo?
I actually haven't, but I do want to try capoeira one day. That's on my bucket list.
What is your opinion of UFC and MMA? Do you follow it?
I follow it kind of. It's not something for me because of the kind of fighter that I was. I wasn't so much of a brawler, and I'm more of a chess player when it comes to fighting. And that's not so much in UFC. You have a little bit of chess playing, but you have to be just kind of a brawler. And I never was that. People asked me if I was going to go into that. And I always said that I don't like the odds. You can be the best person in that division and still get knocked out. Those are not good odds for me. So I'm a numbers person. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone to the people that can deal with those kind of odds.
So Nia, at the Olympics, how many actual bouts did you have to participate in?
I had 4.
You had 4. So take us through, if you would reflect a moment out loud and take us through the winning fight, the last fight in which you won the silver medal. What was that like?
So it was a semifinal match, and it was against a competitor that was smaller than me. And that had been my kind of Achilles heel when it comes to fighting. I usually do well with taller athletes because that made me faster. But when I had to deal with faster, more mobile athletes, I was having a lot of issues with. So coming into that, I actually was up, I think it was 7-2 or something like that for majority of the fight. And all of a sudden, she just kept scoring. And the fight ended up being 7-8. But she was quick, and she just kept getting quick points in there, and it was a scary thought to watch those points just ding, ding, ding up, and finally I just kind of pulled it off. Except for my first fight, all the fights were real nail-biter close fights.
I mean, I can only imagine the adrenaline level and the level of excitement that you must be feeling as you're participating in that last fight, because Taekwondo is a very fast-moving sport, especially Olympic-class Taekwondo. Anything can happen so quickly. So when you scored that point, did it sink in right away, or was it surreal?
It didn't. I was still on. After that fight, I still had a mission. So it didn't sink in that I had just set records or that I was now in finals. It didn't sink in because my goal was to get the goal. So I really did. After winning that fight, I was like, yes, but okay, what's next? And then after even after the final fight where I lost 2-1, I was upset as an athlete. I was like, I didn't do what I came here to do, and I was really upset. And it took me, 6 months to a year to really realize that I won a silver medal. I was telling people were like, congratulations. I was like, for what? I lost. Like, in my head, I didn't do the thing that I set out to do. And so it didn't really sink in the moment that I won a silver medal. It sunk in that I lost the gold.
Now, Nia, your style of Taekwondo, everybody, I don't care who it is, regardless of what they train in, they bring something unique and personal and distinctive to it. What makes you distinctive when you're fighting Taekwondo?
The funny part is my flaw became my greatest asset. When I was younger, I was real small, like I told you, but I grew really, really quickly. And so I became a really, really slim, flexible athlete. So they used to call me Jello because my legs were like Jello. And that actually became my asset. So I became efficient in kicking people in the head, but it was because my leg didn't come up the way that everybody else. My head kicks never came the same way. I can do them from really, really close. They came out of nowhere. They came over the shoulder. And so I became known for these head kicks. Even though I was known for it, that was something that I did, but it was just the way that my body functioned that I was able to do that. And also, I trained at a young age, so I was really, really strong, really, really early. I trained probably from age 12, 13 years old until I retired. I was up, running, lifting weights. My stepdad had me in a full program. So I was a lot stronger at a younger age than a lot of people, and people didn't know that I was going to be that strong.
So, Nia, I have to ask, just briefly, take us to that moment when you're standing on the podium and you're receiving that silver medal. What emotion were you feeling?
I was mad.
Like I said, I was upset. I was so close to getting the goal. All I could think about was what could I have did more? What did I do wrong? All those things were going through my head. I really didn't get to soak up winning. It was more of I was soaking in the losing, and I had to get get my game face on and all that stuff. But I was upset. That was not the best smile that you ever see from me. I was just as a competitor. I mean, and what people don't realize is that after the fight, you go downstairs and you immediately talk to media. You go in the back, get yourself together, and you have to come back on the podium right away. So there was no time to get everything out. And so I hadn't even cried yet. And I was on the podium like, I'm ready to get off of here. They playing their national anthem, not mine. So I was really upset more than anything else.
Now, Nia, you're hired to do keynote speaking and inspirational talks in which you emphasize, quote, living like a champion through BACHO, B-A-C-H-O. What is BACHO?
So BACHO is something that came up through back in the 90s. Some people will remember Taekwondo that far back. We used to say words like bacho, pacho, all that stuff. And so me and a couple of my friends started saying it as a joke. And then when I retired and was saying that I'm going to start, promoting living like a champion, and how I got that concept was I looked at my life and the steps that I took to become successful in Taekwondo are the same steps that I look at CEOs or I look at anybody that's successful. They took those same steps. And so I kind of broke it down. And since I was using that word and I was known for that word, I said, how can I incorporate that into it? And so I made it an acronym, and it stands for Believe, Associate, Choose, Hone, and Obtain. And those are basically the steps that I took. First, I had to believe that I could be a champion. At a young age, I believed. Then I had to associate that thing that I could be a champion in, that thing that comes naturally to me, the thing that I wake up wanting to do. Then I had to choose to do the work. Choose to make better decisions for my life that I can be successful. Then I had to hone in and focus on that skill and put other things aside so I can focus in that one thing. And then I had to obtain it, and that's the one part that a lot of people forget, that you'll see a lot of athletes get all the way to the Olympics or all the way to World Championships and then don't do it. But you have to have that oomph to say, I've done all the work, now I'm going to actually go get it.
Now, Nia, do you have a website where you'd like to direct our listeners?
Yes, you can go to my Facebook. I have a Facebook page called NIA USA. And if you have any inquiries about doing public speaking, and I do seminars, anything like that, you can email me at niausa@hotmail.com.
Nia, you are an incredible inspiration, and I want to thank you for joining us on Martial Arts World Radio today. Best of luck to you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This has been an interview with Olympic Taekwondo medalist Nia Nicole Abdallah.
Hi, I'm Don the Dragon Wilson, and you're listening to Joseph Clark at Martial Arts World Radio.
Ketone specialist Regan Breemersch is committed to leading a modern health revolution through therapeutic ketone technology. His product is called Keto OS. And as you will hear, it has many incredible benefits for martial artists and competitive fighters.
Regan, welcome to Martial Arts World Radio.
Hey, Joseph. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's good to have you here today. Regan, Prove It. Sounds like a really interesting product. Out of the gate, would you tell us what are the benefits to professional fighters and martial artists?
By taking Prove It's product, you're putting yourself in ketosis, right? So by doing this, you'll have the ability to mentally prepare, maintain a sharper mind. Also, you're going to be able to push harder, farther, longer, with increased oxygen levels, the ability to burn fat and gain muscle much more efficiently, with very little recovery time due to the major inflammation reduction that you're going to get from it too.
And this is important. These are all major benefits. What is Prove It?
Prove It's the company to the product, and they have the patents on it. It's called Keto OS. They're inspired by the United States Navy. They created a 100% bioidentical ketone supplement that you drink, and it'll actually put your body into ketosis in under an hour with one serving, and for about 5 to 7 hours, which is amazing. It's doctor approved, lab tested, sports certified. They've made it dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan, kosher certified, and it has no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners too, which is awesome.
Can you take a quick moment and just tell us the U.S. Navy? So I understand that this has something to do with the Navy SEALs, correct?
Yep.
How do you take Prove It?
It comes in a powder. It comes in packages of like just single serving packets or in a can, and you just mix it in with 500 mils or 16 ounces of cold water and drink it over 15 minutes. For someone pushing their bodies hard, I would take 2 a day, so that's performance-based. It regulates your own fats just so your body keeps producing its own ketones, which is a great stuff for breakfast.
What are ketones?
Ketones are the body's second fuel source, the brain's more preferred fuel source, actually. They're made up in the liver when your body starts burning its own fat source, when you're starving your body of glycogen. Ketones are 38% more oxygen efficient than glucose. They last much longer, and they're burnt using less oxygen and put off less CO2 in the blood, so you basically can breathe a lot better.
A moment ago, you mentioned the phrase or the word ketosis. You put your body into ketosis. Can you elaborate a little more about what ketosis is?
When the body enters the state of ketosis, there's a whole bunch of different changes, good changes. You're now running off ketones, which means you have elevated ketone levels in your blood. Like I said, ketones are a cleaner fuel. Your body will carry much more oxygen. Ketones also promote the growth of cells and ATP production. They pass the blood-brain barrier, and and at a cellular level, having all this, your ability to burn fat and gain muscle is much greater. Your energy, mental focus, memory, brain capacity levels of skyrocket, really. You're going to reduce hunger from the 30 times larger fuel tank. And yeah, it's basically putting yourself in a superhuman state of being, I guess.
And when you take the powder, does it come in different flavors? How does it taste?
We have 4 different flavors. There's orange, a chocolate, Maui Punch, and a Swiss cacao. Yeah, it tastes awesome.
Wow, Maui Punch, sign me up for that. That would be my flavor. What's your favorite flavor?
That's mine too. The Maui Punch and the Swiss cacao, they're 2 newest flavors. They're awesome.
Now, in preparation for our interview, I was doing a little bit of reading, and as I understand it, this product is second to none for athletes who experience concussions or who are in sports where concussions are a reality. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. And just for the record, I'm not making any medical claims against Prove It or the product. This is just my findings on the internet from doctors' work. So when the brain gets hit and gets trauma, it retards the ability to ATP to get to the brain. Therefore, the brain heats up, and if you're burning glucose, there's no defense to this. Where ketones are opposite. They promote the production of ATP and cell generation, so the ATP can still get in the brain. And I quote from the work I've looked at, they're seeing a 97% decrease in even the chances of getting a concussion. It abolishes the damage, really. And that's if you're in ketosis at the time. But if you immediately put yourself into ketosis after the trauma, and if you were in before, it minimizes the damage, and the healing time is phenomenal.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, then in theory, it makes you less susceptible to concussions, it minimizes the effects of concussions, and you recover faster.
Very much so, yeah.
We have a lot of listeners who are gym owners and dojo owners. Is there an opportunity here for them if they wanted to distribute the product or they wanted to sell it to their students?
It's not how we want to lead with it, but there definitely is, yeah. I mean, everybody likes to make money, right? And mixed martial arts and fighting is not cheap. There's definitely a business opportunity here, too, yeah.
Regan, there's a lot of cynics about health products for obvious reasons. There's been a lot of products and a lot of supplements. Some of them are absolutely fantastic. Others make a lot of claims that they don't live up to. What makes Prove It a credible product?
Well, for me, it's because of how it makes me feel. The ability to be able to check your blood and track it, being like, this is going to put you in ketosis in under 59 minutes, and we can prove it with a blood, breath, or urine sample. that's incredible. And then we have a massive platform of doctors and professional athletes, scientists standing behind the product that they're not paid or worked for Prove It. They just take the product. It's awesome to see when you look over and people like Dr. Dom and Dr. Angela Poff, the ones that created it, they're taking it. And then there's Dr. Wilson, Dr. Mary Newport. Kenneth Ford, he founded the Institute of Human and Machine Cognition and worked for NASA for quite a few years. Tony Freeman, Ryan Lowry are athletes, Anthony Pettis, and then just the thousands of testimonies that we get.
Well, that definitely lends credibility to the product, and you certainly sound very passionate and very confident about it. So again, just to rephrase, the benefits for training and the benefits for fight day.
The ability to mentally prepare, the endurance, you're able to go harder, longer, without gassing out. You know the need to not carb load, seeing you have a 30 times larger fuel tank, you can go that much farther on one meal. You have explosive energy, the motor skills to match. Recovery is basically nothing when you have minimized inflammation. The ability to cut fat and build muscle is much more efficient. Big decrease in brain fog and increase in cognition. Promotes gut health. Go on the internet and just look up the ketogenic diet or the ketogenic lifestyle, and that will give you a pretty good idea of the other benefits that are incredible too.
Well, and I feel a responsibility on this show to provide, as part of the service, anything that's new and innovative and a competitive edge to martial artists. So whether they're training, whether they're competitors or not, most fighters, whether they're training or whether they're competing, amateur or professional, they're looking for a competitive edge. They're looking for an all-natural way to optimize, to be their best. So for our listeners tonight who wish to get in contact with you, how would you prefer they reach out to you?
Just send me just a quick question. You can text me at 1204-522-0733. You can always give me a call too, as well as go on my website, proveit2day.ca, PRUVIT, the number 2, DAY.ca.
So for anybody listening today who'd like to reach out to Regan and has more questions or wants to find out how to order Prove It, that number once again, Regan, 204-522-0733. And your website one more time?
PRUVIT, the number 2, DAY.ca.
ProveItToday.ca. Regan, thanks so much for informing us about this and for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Joseph.
After my interview with Regan, I further came to understand that he offers a 100% 90-day money-back guarantee, and that he offers the opportunity for you to get free product every month. So give him a call to find out more about that. He also recommends that anyone who's interested or is planning on ordering from his website should reach out to him regardless, so that he can discuss your goals and most optimal way to incorporate it into your diet and training schedule.
This is Emily from La Dame Reflections in Durham. La Dame Reflections, this area's newest women's clothing and accessory destination. We stock 75% Canadian-made brands with exciting designs, all at fabulous prices. Visit us as we approach our first anniversary. Right now, our clearance sale is on, with exciting spring and summer fashions arriving soon. Visit Lisa or I at La Dame Reflections in Durham, 119 Garifraxa Street South. We'll make you look great so you feel fabulous.
It's tax season, and you've already paid your taxes. Chances are, you've overpaid. Get paid back at H&R Block and get what's yours.
Martial Arts World Radio is brought to you by Bruce County Combat and Fitness in Walkerton. Check out the full list of classes at brucecountycombat.com.
91.3 FM. FM means fantastic music.
Martial Arts World Radio is brought to you by Bruce County Combat and Fitness in Walkerton. Check out the full list of classes at brucecountycombat.com.
This is Olivier Gruner. You are listening to Martial Arts World Radio with Joseph Clark.
Our interview with UFC legend Ron Van Clief is brought to you by ketone specialist Regan Breemersch. Keto OS is leading a modern health revolution through therapeutic ketone technology. Mix this great natural 100% bioidentical ketone powder into a 16-ounce bottle of cold water for a great tasting drink for peak performance. Within 15 to 30 minutes, you'll be in the optimal training and fight state of ketosis. He doesn't just say it can do it, he can prove it. For more information, contact Regan at 1-204-522-0733. Again, that's 1-204-522-0733. Or visit www.proveittoday.ca. That's www.pruvit2day.ca. Ron Van Clief, born January 25th, 1943 in Brooklyn, New York, is an American martial artist and an actor in Hollywood and Hong Kong action films. On December 16th, 1994, Ron Van Clief fought in the 4th Ultimate Fighting Championship as the oldest competitor to date to fight in the UFC at the age of 51. His opponent was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu exponent named Royce Gracie. Joining us from Hawaii is Ron Van Clief. Welcome, Ron.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very well, thanks. Yourself?
Excellent. Getting ready for class tonight. I'm ready for another good roll.
Now, I understand you're training for a tournament still, are you not?
Yes, I am. I'm getting ready to participate in my 4th BJJ tournament.
And how old are you, Ron?
At 72, I started doing BJJ tournaments. I'm 73. I'll be 74 in January.
So you've been training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You've been training with a family member?
I'm training with Alex Ricci.
And take us back to UFC 4. Did you know at that time that you were participating in what would be a piece of MMA history and the start of a movement?
I had no idea. You know, I saw UFC 3 on television, a pay-per-view event. I was sitting with my student, The Last Dragon, Timok, and we were watching it. And I said, you know, I have to do this. I have to do it. And, you know, I was 51 at the time, and everyone tried to discourage me from doing it. But I knew that if you're a real martial artist, how could you let an opportunity like that go? I mean, it would be crazy to let that opportunity pass without giving it my 100%.
So how did you get hooked up with them or invited to qualify or to compete?
One of my students, Howard Diego, who trains with Renzo Gracie, spoke to Art Davies, and Art Davies gave me an interview up at the SEG office. It was SEG then, it wasn't UFC, it was SEG, with Bob Marowitz and Art Davies and Campbell McLaren. And I had just run the New York Marathon about 2 weeks before I went up there. So he said, you're 51 years old. Why would you do something like this? You're already a world champion. You're an All-American, you're a Hall of Famer, blah, 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 blah. How could someone not let an opportunity like that go? No rules, no time limit, no weight division, something that I had never participated in before. So I had to give it a shot.
And you did. I mean, you stepped into that cage and instantly had everyone's respect. What was it like fighting Royce Gracie?
Well, let me say that 1 week before the show, I broke my left ankle. But I realized at that point that I could not change my mind and not go. I had to participate because I really wanted to. And I had trained for 3 months, very hard. I trained with wrestlers, I trained with judo people, I trained with lots of guys. And my friend, Leon Stevenson, who is a 250-pound, 6'5" bodybuilder, judo player, threw a suplex on me, and I hit my ankle on the wood frame of the mat and fractured my ankle 1 week before the show.
So you fought in UFC 4 with a fractured ankle.
So I decided that I was going to do it anyway. And it was one of the most exhilarating experiences of my life. It was the most exciting. I mean, you cannot even imagine the rush that I got when I stepped into the octagon and I saw Royce on the other side of the octagon. It was truly epic. I knew I was in the right place.
And that crowd was electric.
Oh, my goodness. It was spectacular. I mean, who could not feel the energy in that arena? That was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was just amazing. I mean, it was truly amazing. Imagine no weight division, no time limit, no gloves, basically no rules.
So, Ron, you have been a fight choreographer on several films, including the movie The Last Dragon, and you've authored several books. Tell us about the books you've authored.
Well, I've written 11 books so far. My first book was the Manual of the Martial Arts, which was in 1980, and that became the textbook for the Secret Service here in the United States. I was the senior defensive tactics instructor at the World Trade Center from 1983 to 1993.
At the World Trade Center?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, for our listeners who are on their tablets and devices, what website would you like to direct them to today?
RonVanClief.com.
Now, you are a 5-time karate and kung fu world champion and a 15-time All-American champion. Were you able to make a living from martial arts, or was there always another form of income?
I never even thought about making my living from the martial arts. The martial arts has always been my love. I mean, I started training when I was 13 years old in jiu-jitsu with Grandmaster Moses Powell in stand-up jiu-jitsu, in traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu. And that was 1957.
1957. And you trained with Bruce Lee in Hong Kong, correct?
I trained with Bruce Lee in Hong Kong. I was one of his classmates. Bruce was the one that inspired me to become a martial arts movie star. He said, "You're the Black Dragon." Bruce saw me fight at the All-American, I think it was 1966 or 1967. And he said to me, "You're the Black Dragon." And we both laughed about it. And years later, 1974, my first film was The Black Dragon. I was the first foreigner to headline Hong Kong Kung Fu films. I worked in over 300 films. I was a stunt coordinator for 40 years. I was the chairman of the Stunt and Safety Committee with the Screen Actors Guild for 20 years. And in the 300 films that I worked in, I've done high dives, falls, car crashes. I mean, almost every stunt you could ever really imagine. I was Samuel Jackson's stunt double in Die Hard with a Vengeance. I've been a stuntman for over 40 years. I retired from the Screen Actors Guild in 2011 because my body just started feeling
beat up,
the stress of so many years of.
Sure. Do you have a favorite fighter? Like, I know through the years, I'm sure that, you know, we interview fighters on this show. Bob Wall. I've interviewed Gene LaBelle for one of my books. You know, I know that you crossed paths, no doubt, with Chuck Norris and some, you know, Richard Norton and other great fighters. I'm just curious, do you have a favorite? Is there a particular fighter who...
From the days or from now?
Well, let's start with the old days first.
Chuck Norris is one of my favorites.
Chuck Norris.
He's a 6-time world champion. I mean, he's still going, and he's 77 years old. I mean, he's an inspiration and a motivation to generations of martial arts. But there have been so many great martial arts that I've had the opportunity to either work out with or watch in their tournament participation. You know, Joe Louis was amazing. Bob Wall was amazing. There were just so many great. Benny DeJet, Don Wilson. The list can go on and on and on and on of really great masters and fighters. I mean, these were real warriors. In the old days, the golden era of martial arts in America, the 60s through the 70s, you saw some of the most amazing practitioners of all the arts. Aikido, Karate, Taekwondo, Budokan, Judo. There were so many amazing, Danny Inosanto. There were just so many amazing martial that I saw at that time. They were just amazing.
It was certainly a golden era.
Today. There's nothing like that today.
Now, speaking of which, today, do you have a favorite martial artist today?
Is that MMA? We're talking about general martial arts.
Let's talk MMA.
MMA. Oh, boy. We got a long list there. Let's see. Let's go with the older guys first. Dan Severn, Olaf Tartarov, Hickson Gracie, Hoist Gracie, Don Fry the Predator, Randy Couture.
You got quite a long list, Ron.
Well, I've been a fan of MMA since its inception in America. When I became the commissioner in 1994 of the UFC, I was hired to make the event more telegenic and to give it some validity in that there were different martial arts styles coming together as a brotherhood. It was a wonderful, wonderful concept. I'm actually doing an event in Barbados on November 25th, and it will be an homage to the original UFC. It will be an event, an 8-man single elimination event, no rules, no time limit, no weight division. It will be the Ron Van Clief Absolute MMA Championship. So I'm super excited about that.
Sounds like an exciting prospect for you. I mean, nobody's going to rule you out given all of your experience, and just your philosophy seems to be one that is unyielding.
Well, I'm going to compete next month in another BJJ tournament. I plan to compete until 2020. I want to compete until I'm 80.
Now, by the way, okay, so prior to your fight with Royce Gracie, had you trained as a grappler, or was that a new experience for you?
A new experience.
Okay.
Totally experience.
Okay. Would it be safe to say now that after that experience and as you progressed as a martial artist, that you became more well-rounded?
I started studying the Gracie system, particularly the Helson Gracie system, 5 years ago. I put on a white belt. I took off my red belt and I put on a white belt. And I go to class 3 or 4 days a week. I roll at least 5 to 6 rounds per night when I roll.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. You know, it's actually a better experience for me than karate or kung fu, because your body doesn't take the shock from impact. When you get 73, a punch in the teeth, a punch in the jaw, elbow in the ball, those things, they last.
Sure.
I'm able to go and roll in the jiu-jitsu and not injure myself. Of course, I'm sore and tired and things like that because, you know, everyone I roll with is 30 and 40 years younger than me. But the experience and the Gracie family has this Ohana spirit, this family spirit within their system that transmits through the mat to each individual. People in the dojo actually tell you what to do to combat their techniques, how to get out of different positions while you are rolling with them.
Sure.
You never get that in karate school.
Now, Ron, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we've got 60 seconds to wrap up, and I want to ask you one quick response question, if I can. What advice do you have for our listeners on making a reality of their dreams? And this has got to be a quick answer for this one because we have to wrap up.
Never, ever give up. Follow your dreams. You know, I wrote my book, The Hangman. It's my autobiography. It's going to be a feature film done by a major film company next year. So look out for it, The Hangman. It's available on Amazon. But never give up your dreams. Dream big. Never let anybody blow your bubble. We are capable as human beings to have unlimited human potential. And that's what it's all about. Being the best you can be in every way, every day.
Ron, congratulations once again on the legacy that you have built and that you are still building. And until next time, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
So much, y'all. And have a good day and be happy and healthy.
You have been listening to my interview with Ron Van Clief. Be sure to check us out at www.mawradio.com and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube by following Martial Arts World Radio. I'm Joseph Clark. Until next time, safe travels.
Thank you to everybody on our social network video stream for tuning in. This is Martial Arts World Radio, and please join us again this time next week, Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week.